हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. We'll start with small kirtan. Devotees may join. Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava. Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha
गिरिवरधारी
Yashodhanandana Rajajanaran Yashoda Rajajanaran Ira Avancha Maga Punjabeha Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Rama 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 श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. ओम अज्ञानतिमिर ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते सुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी. कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्. देहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथं सजीवं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सह गणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषै नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। वेलकम टू ऑल फॉर आवर भक्ति वैभव थर्ड कैंटो Kapil Dev section study of Kapila's teachings. So we are we are in 32nd chapter. Of course, many of devotees last week attended memorial. Like only 3-4 are there were there. So maybe you can go through the video later. But I'll just give a summary. We'll just go through summary and then we'll continue our section. So we are in 32nd chapter. Of course, the overall section is where Kapil Dev is answering Mother Devotee's questions and asked in text, asked in chapter 29 about samsara. She was asking about samsara, how to become detached from samsara so that she can practice bhakti with great attachment and with determination. So then the chapter started from 30th, 31, 32. The destinations of those who are working in mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness are described in these three 30th, 31, and 32 majorly. And we have seen by understanding all these, we need to develop more and more detachment from all this material entanglement, tabernacle. Prabhupada writes in, I think, Bhagavad Gita, the living entity only increases the pages in the history of his material existence by working in the three modes. So our history only increases. How the pages are increasing in our history. So yeah, we as a soul going through many lives, millions of lives, going through all these situations, what is mentioned in these three chapters. Abrahma bhunaloka punaravartinochuna mamapetut kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. So Abrahma bhunaloka. So from topmost planet to downmost, we are keep on rotating. I am going through all these planetary systems just to fulfill my desires, material desires. And Lord is facilitating all these things through various aspects, creation, maintenance, and destruction, etc. But we need to develop detachment from this, as Krishna mentions in 15th chapter of Gita. Asanga shastrena dhruvena chitva. So we need to hold on to that weapon of detachment, sword of detachment, and cut down this tree of material existence. Urdhvamulam adashakam ashwattham prahuravayam. So material world itself compared to this big banyan tree, and we need to cut down by sword of detachment. So by understanding dukkha doshana darshanam, janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshana darshanam. So by that contemplation, more and more we detach from this material world. So that was the main theme that is being discussed. from womb to tomb. Everything is discussed here. What I went through. I'm trying to understand on these aspects. We need to develop detachment and become attached to Krishna more and more. And also, Kapil Dev again and again reinforces the process of bhakti, how we need to develop attraction towards bhakti. And anywhere we go, we need to come to the final point of bhakti, either karma or jnana or yoga. Whatever we may do, finally we need to come to the path of bhakti. So we need to understand that I am the part and parcel of Lord, Supreme Lord. I am trying to enjoy independently of Him, but I need to connect to Him back again by the process of bhakti. So that was one of the main points in 32nd chapter also. He emphasizes again and again after Sakam Karma, Nishkam Karma. He again comes back to how one should do bhakti. And so that was question of devotee also. I want to practice bhakti more intensely with great attachment. So these aspects will definitely give us by understanding them, by contemplating on them, we can reinforce the practices of bhakti. So that was the main theme. So in text in chapter 32, we saw how the attached workers, Sakama Karmis, they have to go through all these 14 planetary systems. They go up and down. But otherwise, those who are detached, Nishkam Karma Yogis, they will not come back to this world. They have to come back. So they have to return to earth, attached, especially Sakam Karmis. Nishkam Karmis, when they develop detachment more and more, they come to platform of Jnana. And when they attach little bhakti to that practice, then attain either Brahmajyoti or Supreme Lord, depending on their prominence. Then it was discussed about how Hiranyagarbha worshippers. Hiranyagarbha here, either Brahmaji or Virat Rupa worshippers. Yeah, if they add bhakti, definitely they will also get liberated along with Brahmaji if they are devotees. If Brahmaji and all, they also get liberation, and along with them, along with Brahma. So all those who are worshippers of Brahmaji or Virat Rupa worshippers, they also get liberation. That was mentioned in next 8 to 15. Liberation is not possible without bhakti, so better perform bhakti. Conclusion. So 11th verse is concluded that how one should come to bhakti. So that was concluded. And otherwise, we have to come back again. And then Kapila is sarcastic about how Sakama Karmis they try to worship forefathers. They are absorbed in passionate activities. They go to Pitraloka and come back. So better perform bhakti. So after Nishkama, also 11th verse also glorifies bhakti. After Nishkama, one should practice bhakti for whatever you do, either Sakama or Nishkama, one has to come to the bhakti only finally. And text 22 also finally says one should perform bhakti. Yeah. Jnana and Vairagya are quickly achieved by practice of bhakti. So by practice of bhakti, what happens? Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam cha yad Brahma Darshanam. Here it is mentioned in this verse. Here in this chapter, same shloka, but last word is different. So that was discussed. So basically, either karma, jnana, or yoga, better practice bhakti. That was the final conclusion. And by that bhakti, we develop jnana and vairagya. So then, what are the symptoms that jnana and vairagya are shown in devotee? So those symptoms are explained in 24th and 25. How devotee is equipoised, devotee is a kind. Many qualities are explained in 24 and 25. We have seen. We will see from 26 onwards. 26 is saying that is finally same Lord one Bhagavan is perceived differently through different process. Whatever process we may perform, he is only perceived but differently. And different aspects are revealed by different processes. But Bhakti reveals every in full the Supreme Lord. Just like karma may reveal the aspect of material aspect of enjoyment in the Swarga, the performance of Jnana. It may reveal the aspect of Brahman, the personal Brahma Jyoti, which is spiritual in nature. And the yoga, it will reveal the aspect of Paramatma. But when one performs bhakti, then it reveals the Bhagavan aspect, who includes everything, not only Paramatma and Brahman. Both aspects are included in him. Of course, the enjoyment is there, but not as material enjoyment, but spiritual enjoyment, bliss is there always. So everything is achieved by performance of bhakti. So that is spoken in the text 26. We will start from here. We'll just see the overview. But we are going to see that. So again, Mother Devhuti asks about one aspect of jnana is not clarified. That's what she asks once again. Non-dual jnana. How the world is not different from the Lord. That specific aspect of knowledge, she wanted to know how she can experience the Lord in this universe also. So that kind of a jnana she asked specifically. And then Kapil Muni explains that as well. And he mentions finally that by detachment is the common to all these practitioners. So one should develop detachment first. Of course, develop detachment in the sense, especially for bhakti, a slight detachment may be needed. We will discuss that one. But it is the main thing that for other process, yoga, jnana, for them especially detachment, renunciation is the first aspect. For bhaktas, slight detachment is necessary, as we also seen during the starting of this section. We have seen how a slight detachment is needed for a devotee to practice bhakti more determinedly. But it's not a limb of 64 limbs. It is not any 64 limbs that are vairagya, but it helps a lot initially. So we need to practice detachment. And then Kapila explains that how Lord is the source of everything. So that she can understand how Lord is pervading everywhere through Brahma. And then Kapila Muni explains about the summary of all these processes, various paths ultimately relates to Bhagavan. All these processes he explains in summary how one need only practice bhakti. By that he can realize whatever he is aspiring for. So that's the final conclusion. Again, he comes to the aspect of bhakti and Bhagavan. So the one Lord is perceived differently through different scriptural practices. So that's how he discusses. And finally, this chapter ends with that who should be given this knowledge and who should not be given, and what is the falashruti is spoken in this chapter. So mostly we'll try to cover today 26 to 43 verses. And also again and again he establishes the bhakti is the main aspect we need to take up in contrast with karma, jnana and yoga. So that was the one of the main aspects that is mentioned, emphasized by Kapila Muni. And also the final section is very, very relevant for our practices. Who is qualified and who can understand Krishna consciousness, who can't understand Krishna consciousness. What are the different qualities we need to work upon so that we can understand, we can realize Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada is very much focused on that aspect also. So text 37 to 43 emphasizes that one. And not only for preaching, but for application purpose also, personal application. So that is a very wonderful section. And then we'll see how. Okay, text chapter 33. How after hearing from Kapila Muni, the son, the dear son Kapila Muni, Mother Devoti thanks the Lord, praise to the Lord. And then the Kapila Muni departs. We will see in 33 chapter later. But this is the summary of the section. These sections that we are going through now. Text 26. We will just go through. Okay, last time I think many of you are not there, so we'll just go through the at least the translations, summary of the translations here. I think we started around the sixth verse, I think. Of course, many of you are there till the previous section, 1 to 6. We have seen how Gruhamedi attached performers, Sakam Karmis, they are always trying to keep the enjoyment as a center. They are called Gruhamedis. Though the enjoyment is of according to Dharma, also it's condemned, it's criticized if it's not Krishna centered, because it takes only to at most to the Brahma planet, even if one performing dharma. So attached workers cannot attain liberation. So detached workers practice of Nishkam karma can attain Lord, that we have seen detachment. Okay, destination of the Hiranyagarbha worshippers and superiority of bhakti that's spoken in 8 to 15. Now someone can read these translations, at least we'll have some idea what is going on. 8 to 9.
Okay. Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please.
The Hiranyagarbha worshippers remain in material world, Satyaloka, till the end of Brahma's lifetime, Dviparardha, when Brahma gives up his body and goes to the Lord, enters into Mahavishnu.
So here, the Hiranyagarbha worshippers, either they are worshipping Brahma or they are worshipping Virat Rupa. Finally, they merge in Brahma and they enter into Mahavishnu. So entering into Mahavishnu, last time with purports we have seen, if they have any identity, any traces of identity, I am Brahma, I am this, I am that, then they have to come back to this world when the creation starts. So it doesn't mean that they give up the body, doesn't mean that they are liberated. That point is one of the main points. Though everyone enters into Mahavishnu, though he is the Supreme Lord, who doesn't have any material body, Mahavishnu, the body is not material. But still, the living entities who are not gave up their identities, their temporary identities, who are not purified completely in their consciousness, they have to come back. That was one main point we have seen. That was, yes. Yeah, text 10.
Those detached yogis, by the practice of breathing exercises, etc., reach Brahma's planet. After giving up their body, they enter the body of Brahma and get liberated along with Brahma. Should I read that, Prabhuji?
Yes, you can read. You can write
Srila
it.
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that if the Hiranyagarbha worshippers worship only Brahma but do not have bhakti for Lord Vishnu, they will not attain liberation at the end of Brahma's life. They merge into the body of Mahavishnu along with Brahma, but when the universes are created again, they enter into the universe.
They do not have bhakti for Lord Vishnu means they are not identifying with the Lord. Having bhakti means, developing bhakti means we need to change our identity. Identity as a man, as a woman, I'm this, I'm that. So all these identities has to be transformed into the real identity. I'm the servant of the Lord. I'm part and parcel of Lord. I'm servant of the Lord. So that is bhakti. So as long as that is not happening, then one has to come back. So that is the main point. Hmm. All the Brahma.
Although Brahma becomes liberated, he cannot liberate his devotees. Only the Supreme Lord can liberate one from the clutches of Maya.
He himself cannot liberate his dependents, but by the mercy of the Lord, only everyone can be liberated. Hmm. Since without bhakti, no one can become liberated, better perform bhakti. So that was the conclusion of all the section, Sakama and Nishkama. Therefore, O mother, take direct shelter of the Lord who is seated in everyone's heart. So the conclusion again repeated here, 11th verse. Continue.
Even Brahma, the Kumaras, and other exalted personalities don't get liberated if they have Bheda Drushti, independent vision, or a mentality of being the doers and being independent of the Supreme Lord. Though they attain Mahavishnu, they will come back in their same forms and positions in the next creation.
Yeah, Veda Drishtya Abhimanabhyam. Last time we have read Veda Drishtya Abhimanabhyam. Both Veda Drishti, Abhiman. So Veda Drishti means I am independent, or mentality of Abhiman, being the doers, independent of the Lord. So these two are extremely. Yeah, Prabhupada, in purports, these two are only emphasized always. We should never think that we are independent. We should never lord it over material nature. That's what Prabhupada always emphasizes, because these are roots which make us come back again and again to this material world. So Veda Drishti, Abhimana Drishti, Veda Drishti and Abhiman. So yeah, even they also, what to speak of we, even Brahma and Kumaras. Here, Kumaras, we are not, last time we have seen Vishwanath Thakur's purport that in some of the universes, they are not devotees. They have to come back. But those who are devotees in some universes, the Brahma and Kumaras are perfect devotees, so they don't come back. They are liberated. And along with that, their dependents, their followers also, who have bhakti, especially. So they will not come back. Otherwise, though they may attain Mahavishnu, they will come back in their same forms and position in the next creation. Because of their absence of bhakti, Brahma and others return to the place where people perform sakam karma. Yeah. Because of their absence of bhakti means they are not purified, they are not having a identity of I am servant of the Lord. So that kind of identity is not yet developed, not yet fully developed, perfectly developed. Of course, you might have heard the 5 levels of Chetanas. Avrita Chetana, Sankuchita Chetana, Upalita Chetana, Vikasita Chetana, Purnam Vikasita Chetana. The Chetana, the consciousness is that like a flower, it blossoms more and more. The fully blossomed is the final stage where we realize that I am the servant of the Lord. Otherwise, we have so many identities, different levels. Uh, till that point, we need to keep on coming back to this word. Kapil Muni again comes back to who are always trying to dharmartha kama moksha, not even moksha, dharmartha kama, who are caught up with this, and they have how they suffer and how they have to keep on trying different ways to enjoy, but they have to suffer again and again. That he is explained here. Please read.
With their minds attached to this world, the materialistic people perfectly perform their prescribed duties with attachment to fruitive results. Tor-
Continue.
Tormented by passion and with their minds absorbed in household affairs, they worship the forefathers. They are interested only in dharma, artha, and kama, and averse to bhakti katha, hari katha. Thus are compared to stool eating hogs and are attached to asat Katha. Perfectly performing their prescribed duties from birth until death, they go to Pitruloka. After their pious credits are exhausted, they fall back down to earth.
So, perfectly performing the prescribed duties, they are dharmic duties. They are not sinful duties. They are prescribed duties. But still, from birth till end, they perform all this only to come back again and again. क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ति ते तं भुक्त्वा स्वर्गलोकं विशालं क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ति. So they have to come back. We have to come back. I am coming back again and again. So that's why we need to perform bhakti. Again, Kapila Muni says again with the 22nd onwards. After describing those who are dedicated to nivritti karma, 5 to 7, Kapila advised to surrender the Lord. 11th verse bhakti. After describing those dedicated to pravritti karma, 1621, Kapila again advises just worship the Lord with devotion. So pravritti karma or nivritti karma, whatever it may be, you come to bhakti, then only you will be liberated. So that's why again, therefore, tasmat tvam sarvabhavena vachasva parameshtinam. Parameshtinam here is the Supreme Lord, not Brahmaji. So tad gunashraya bhaktya bhajaniya padam pujam. So that's how he is saying that bhakti need to be performed. Unto whom? Vasudeve Bhagavati. It's not Brahmaji. Vasudeve Bhagavati. Bhakti Yoga Prayata. Yanetyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Yad Brahma Darshanam. So one need to perform bhakti, we have seen last time. What are the symptoms of this who are actually performing bhakti unto Vasudeva? The symptoms are Jnanam and Vairagyam. Both will develop. How to see the symptoms? These are the different qualities are mentioned in 24 and 25. So they are equipoised, they are transcendental, good and bad. So these are the different qualities that are mentioned. Now we'll continue. So Kapila said that all the results of bhakti, jnana and yoga are achieved by performing bhakti alone. How is that? So you mentioned that how to understand that everything can be achieved by bhakti. What is the logic? What is the logic behind that? That is explained in 26th verse. The logic is basically bhakti includes all the process. This goal of bhakti at the Bhagavan includes everything. So that's why performing bhakti, one can achieve all the results of bhakti. Akama, sarvakama, va mokshakama udarati, tivrena bhakti yogena jeta purusham param. So whoever wants whatever one may want, please try to worship the Lord. So the same theme reflects here in a different form. Okay, we'll go through this section 6th onwards. 26, yeah. So everything can be achieved by karma, penance, and jnana, vairagya, yoga, dharma, all can be easily achieved by my devotee through bhakti. This is also quoted in 11th canto also. Krishna himself says to Uddhav, my dear Uddhav, everything can be achieved by bhakti. That was is of conclusion till now. Kapila Muni is also concluding like that. So what is the logic that is presented here? Because bhakti, which is the path, which is the process to achieve the goal, sadhya, Bhagavan, because Bhagavan is the essence of all. So if he achieve one, if he is achieved, then everything is achieved. So that is the main point, main logic. Jnanamatram param brahma paramesh paramatmeshwarah puman drishyadivi pradagbhavair Bhagavan eka iyate. Someone else wants to read?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead alone is complete transcendental knowledge, but according to the different processes of understanding, he appears differently, either as impersonal Brahman, as Paramatma, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or as the Purusha avatar.
So do you remember any example Prabhupada always use? I mean, many of the books Prabhupada explains 2-3 examples in order to understand the same thing, but seen differently at different for different people or different situations, etc. In regards to the same theme, do you remember any examples what Prabhupada mentions in his books or whatever we read from in Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita about these 3 aspects? Anyone remember anything?
Sun rays, sun god.
Good example. Sun rays, the planet of sun, and the personality of sun god. Yes, that is one example. Good example. You're giving train example?
When you see a train from far, it's just a light. Then comes near, you see that there are bogies, and when it's
Correct.
still near, then we see there are people inside.
Yeah, this one more example, Prabhupada used train example. That from far distance, first time when somebody is seeing train in the night, everything is light only. And after some time, then it appears a little more closer, some personal aspects. And if one try to meet some people in the train and develop relationship, then it's more of a perfection of that realization of Bhagavan. Yeah, Prabhupada gives this example. Yeah. Any other?
Mountain.
Correct. Mountain example also used. From distance, everything is hazy and nothing is personal. Everything looks like one. It's like a hazy one thing. That's it. But if you go near and near, to the degree one is advancing towards the mountain, to the degree he can realize the different aspects. Yeah, these are all beautiful examples to understand how, depend on the person's advancement, one realizes the aspects of absolute truth. So similarly, here the same theme is mentioned. According to the different processes of understanding, he appears differently. So that is mentioned here. Such that Vishnu Jagatakur used the essence. Because Bhagavan contains both Brahman and Paramatma, by bhakti, as sadhana to Bhagavan, one achieves the perfection of bhakti to Bhagavan. So being Lord's associate full of prema, so this is a goal of bhakti, he will be achieved. As well as one attains merging the Lord, so perfection of yoga and jnana. So whatever. So basically when you talk about yoga, just want to mention point. So if he is tinged by jnana, then he will be wanting to merge in Supreme Lord. But if this yogi people have some touch with the bhakti, then they will slowly turn into aspiring to Paramatma feature and then to as a Bhagavan feature later on. And these people also, if at all, if they come in touch with the devotees, they may change their desires. Okay, we'll read first para.
The word Drishya Adibihi is significant according to Jiva Goswami. Drishi means jnana, philosophical research. By different process of philosophical research under different concepts such as the process of Jnana Yoga, the same Bhagavan or Supreme Personality of Godhead is understood as impersonal Brahman. Similarly, by the Eightfold Yoga system, he appears as the Paramatma, but in pure consciousness or knowledge in purity. When one tries to understand the absolute truth, one realizes him as the Supreme Person.
So this is the same point, but here Drishyadipi is more of a philosophical approach. Drishyadipi, different approaches of philosophies. Pratak Bhavair, they see differently. Pratak Bhavair. Again, but he said they are seeing only one. Bhagavan Ekayate. Bhagavan is only one. But according to the philosophies, Drishyadipi, Pratak Bhavair, they are different, according to the different process of understanding. They see differently. So that was main point. Maybe purports are a little bigger. You can go through later on. Yeah. Please read.
The one Supreme Personality of Godhead reveals himself to different thinkers as the Supreme Person or impersonal Brahman or Paramatma. Impersonalists merge into the impersonal Brahman, but that is not achieved by worshipping the impersonal Brahman. If one takes to devotional service and at the same time desires to merge into the existence of Supreme Lord, he can achieve that. If someone desires at all to merge into the existence of the Supreme, he has to execute devotional service.
Yeah. If he is just worshipping Brahmajyoti, he will not achieve Brahmajyoti. He has to come to the process of bhakti also. He has to. Bhakti in the sense he need to understand that Krishna or Vishnu has a form, personal form, is the reality, is a form, but I am attached to impersonal Brahman. So that is allowed. Otherwise, if he has any condemnation of the form, or any hate to the form, or any dislike to the form, or even if he thinks that he is a false, form is a false thing, or Maya, these kind of things, if he has, then he will not achieve even impersonal Brahman also, though he may try a lot. So Prabhupada concludes by saying that every place, every space, and everything belongs to Vishnu. But where he personally lives is the Dham Parama, his Supreme Abode. One has to make destination. One has to make one's destination the Supreme Abode, the Lord. So everywhere, everything is, he is the ultimate goal. Whatever, either material world or spiritual world, everything belongs to him. Why not make him as the final destination? Why we have to unnecessarily go here and there, again come back, going back again? So that's the point. So after describing how all the process has to come to finally Bhagavan. So what is the underlying practice for all? What is the common practice? And the results for all these types of worshippers is explained in the next verse. So the common practice and results, how they are explained in this verse. एतावान् योगेन समग्रेणेह योगिनः युज्यते अभिमतो हि अर्थो यदसङ्गस्तु प्रश्नसः.
The greatest common understanding for all yogis is complete detachment from matter, which can be achieved by different kinds of yoga.
So common understanding is complete detachment. So that's essential. For devotees, jnanis, yogis, why? Bhakti, Jnana, and Ashtanga yogas. So all these Yatavan Yogena means they are different paths for different people, different practitioners. Complete detachment from sense object. Asanga is recognized as the desired goal. Abhimata Atta. So this is the main point that has to be exercised. They have to practice complete detachment from sense objects. Simply, it helps achieve the desired goal. So that has to be practiced. Asanga has to be practiced. So by complete detachment alone, one's desired goal of prema for devotees or liberation for jnanis and yogis is achieved. So a complete detachment has to be exercised. So as I was mentioning, that complete detachment, definitely at a final stage we will develop detachment. Janayatya Vairagyam. But is it necessary for bhakti also? We need to have detachment from initial onwards. Anyone wants to share something? Just like Jnanis and Yogis, everyone should we also give up everything and go to Himalayas and detach, take sannyas for bhakti?
We don't have to give up everything, we have to use it in Krishna's service.
Yeah. So we need not give up everything. At least a slight detachment is definitely is useful, but it's not a mandatory for practice bhakti. But detachment renunciation is very mandatory for practicing of jnana and yoga. complete celibacy. That's why they take the first renunciation, first sannyas, then talk about jnana and yoga. That kind of very stringent rules and regulations. But bhakti, slowly, we have slight detachment we need to exercise. And slowly, the bhakti process itself develops that kind of detachment. Yeah, please read. Yellow line, yellow highlighted.
There are three kinds of yoga, namely Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga. Devotees, jnanis, and yogis all try to get out of the material entanglement.
They are all trying to get out of entanglement and achieve whatever they're desiring. And they also have to practice control senses, and they have to think. Gyanis has to keep on mental speculating, trying to develop more and more renunciation from false enjoyment. They also have try, and devotees, however, try to engage the senses in the service of the Lord. Therefore, it appears that the activities of bhaktas, devotees, are better than those of jnanis and yogis. And they are not endeavoring to be detached, but they are engaging to engage. So, mystic yoga simply try to control senses by practicing it. Yoga, yama, niyama, asana, pratyam. They are. So, by jnanis, they are trying to mental reasoning how this enjoyment is false, how the grapes are so sour. So, that kind of practice they keep on trying to do. But easiest is just to engage. सर्वोपाधिविनिर्मुक्तं तत्परत्वेन विनिर्मलं ऋषिकेण ऋषिकेशसेवनं भक्तिरुच्यते. So all the we keep on engaging all senses, the service of the Lord. So just like Prabhupada also gives the example of Ambarish Maharaj, Savai Manah Krishna Padarabantyo. That's kind of we have to keep on engaging our everything in the service of the Lord. So thereby the detachment becomes as a secondary result. Automatically one will be detached from all kinds of unnecessary engagements. Yeah, please read this one, highlight portion.
The purpose of all yoga is to detach one's senses activities from this material world. The final aims, however, are different. Jnanis want to become one with the Brahman effulgence, yogis want to realize Paramatma, and devotees want to develop Krishna consciousness and transcendental loving service to the Lord. That loving service is the perfect stage of sense control. The senses are actually active symptoms of life and they cannot be stopped. They can be detached only if there is a superior engagement. As it is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Param Drishtva Nivartante. The activities of the senses can be stopped if they are given superior engagements. The supreme engagement is the engagement of the senses in the service of Lord. That is the purpose of all yoga.
So living nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatutishtat akarmakrit. So in the actual stage, the soul is always active. So active in the loving service of the Lord. That is a perfect stage. So yeah, bhakti is the perfect stage of sense control, loving service. So that's the main point of this verse, where that is the logic. After logic, yeah, because bhakti includes everything. So one should perform bhakti. And the common practice is attachment is mentioned in this verse. Previous verse mentions about how its essence is Bhagavan. And for everyone, detachment is the main practice. And the corresponding results are also spoken. So now the Yahudi is almost trying to come to a conclusion. So she's saying that I have a desire to perform bhakti and I have heard about it and understood. I have a I was curious about Jnana and Yoga. I have heard about them and understood them. Now, a little bit She wants to know more. But in Jnana, I have not understood completely about non-dual knowledge. Therefore, please briefly explain about that. Non-dual knowledge. Non-dual knowledge means how the world and especially here, everything is not different from him. That I want to understand. So that Kapil Muni explains in 4 or 5 verses. So let us see. Jnanamekam parachinair indriyair brahma nirgunam avabhatyartharupena भ्रांत्या शब्दादिधर्मिणा. Please read.
Those who are averse to the transcendence realize the supreme absolute truth differently through speculative sense perception, and therefore, because of mistaken speculation, everything appears to be them to be relative.
So basically, averse to transcendence is those who are averse to transcendence. Averse means it's not like a dvesha, but kind of a seeing differently. Bhrantya, mistakenly. So this is mistakenly is thinking that mistakenly trying to understand the Supreme Lord in different ways. So that is explained here. Prachina verse. So those who are averse to transcendence realize Supreme Absolute Truth differently through speculative sense perception, and therefore because mistaken speculation. So for them everything appears to be relative, but it is the same Supreme Lord as a Brahman aspect. This verse explains that Brahman appears as various objects. So, but for them, but those who are kind of averse in the sense, those who are having a different mentality, they see in different ways. Bhrantya Shabdadi Dharmina, differently, Ardharupena, and in different forms they see. Avati, it appears, the Supreme Lord appears in different ways. Yeah. Please read.
The supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is one, and he is spread everywhere by his impersonal features. This is clearly expressed in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna says, everything that is experienced is but an expansion of my energy. Everything is sustained by him, but that does not mean that he is in everything.
Yeah. So everything is the expansion of the Lord. Of course, we understand. See, basically, two understandings from the impersonal understanding point of view and from personal point of view. So, from impersonalistic point of view, from their theory on, they say that so there is only Brahman. So there is only Brahman. When Brahman is covered by mode of ignorance, it becomes matter. When Brahman is covered by mode of passion, it becomes all living entities. It appears to be living entities. So we should say appears. It appears to be matter when Brahman is covered by ignorance. When Brahman is covered by goodness, so it appears to be all the devatas, all the incarnations. So that's how they try to interpret the whole creation. The Brahman is only Satyam. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. So everything is false. So they say all these are false only. The gods, the devatas, their forms, the incarnation, their forms are all false because it's mode of goodness only. Brahman covered with mode of goodness. And Brahman covered with mode of passion, all living entities, their forms are also false. Mithya. And what to speak of matter? Jada. It's ignorance. So that is their version. Brahman is covered by mode of passion, ignorance, and goodness. And they say that everything is false, only Brahma Satyam. So one should understand that non-dual substance. So that's why generally they say neti neti. By this, this is not. We should approach to that Brahman. So that's the way of their interpretation. How one should approach to the Brahman. Only one Brahman exists. But we see as a personalist, we always understand from the point of view of. But the main question is put forward by the acharyas is that okay, you are saying Brahman is on Satyam, and you are saying it is covered by all this ignorance, passion, and goodness, which is called we call Maya. So from where Maya came? So from where Maya is existing, you are saying that it is covered by Maya, it is covered by ignorance, passion, and goodness. How from where Maya came? So for them, it's like quite a different aspect, difficult to question about this Maya itself, aspects of Maya, how Brahman is covered by Maya, how it can be covered over. Brahman cannot be covered over because Brahman cannot be touched by anything. How it came under the Brahman, how it can come under modes? It cannot come under modes. How it can come under modes? That's a very difficult thing to discern. But we understand from point of view of from personal point of view of how Lord has different multifarious energies and how it is transforming in different varieties. The same Supreme Lord, it transforms the Maya Shakti, Swarupa Shakti, Tatastha Shakti. Of course, we three understand three Shaktis we understand. Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, and Tatastha Shakti. So how these energies are transforming themselves. So in that sense, we can understand how this world, the whole world, it's a transformation of Krishna's energy, external energy. He has his energy and transforming. And by connecting to him, we see everything as non-different from him. Yeah, that's how Prabhupada gives example also. When we see any belonging, last time also we give example. Mother sees child's belongings. Or Prabhupada gave example of his own glasses. So if you see my glasses, what do you see? Immediately you remember spiritual master Prabhupada. Similarly for a devotee, he always sees the connection immediately. This is energy of the Lord. So these are all energy of the Lord. So that's how a devotee sees. There's a famous verse also in Chaitanya Charitamrita that he says that स्थावर जंगम देखी ना देखी तारा मूर्ति सर्वत्र होइबे इष्टदेव स्फूर्ति. So sarvatra hoibe tava ishtadeva spurti. So that for the devotee, for pure devotee, stavara jangama dekhi na dekhi taramurti. He doesn't see the form of stavara and jangam. What is still and what is moving. Stavara jangam. But wherever he sees, he is sarvatra spuribe hoy ishtadeva spurti. Ishtadev is only seeing in the sense that he's able to see the connection. Of course, at the higher stages, he may see the Supreme Lord, just like Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is always in the Supreme Lord everywhere. Hiranyakashipu asked, show me, where is your Lord? Is he here in this pillar? Is there here? Yeah, Prahlad said, yes, I am seeing my Lord everywhere. So that's how the advanced vision, the consciousness, Chaitanya. So he's seeing that his Supreme Lord is present everywhere. In fact, he is there. Andantarastha paramanu chayantarastam govindamali purusham bhajami. Though he is there, but right now we are in a rough consciousness. Our consciousness is not very refined. So that can be developed more and more by our practices, by respecting each and everything as energy of the Lord, by worshipping the Supreme Lord in his paraphernalia, how he is manifesting in different ways. Everything should be respected. So thereby offenses will be ceased. Then we can chant the name properly, and then refined consciousness becomes more and more it can access the Supreme Lord's presence more and more. So yeah, so that is the main point of this whole discussion. I'm just giving a, because purport definitely has many aspects Prabhupada brings out. How we are seeing everything differently according to senses, or sense perceptions sees everything differently. So that is explained in all these things. Okay, we can read this yellow portion.
Mayavadi philosophers declare this diversity to be false, but Vaishnava philosophers do not accept the different manifestations as false. They accept them as non different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead because they are a display of His diverse energies. The philosophy that the Absolute is true and this creation is false, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, is not accepted by Vaishnava philosophers. The example is given that although all that glitter is not gold, this does not mean that a glittering object is false. For example, an oyster shell appear to be golden. This appearance of golden hue is due only to the perception of the eyes, but that does not mean that the oyster shell is false.
Hmm. So the world is not false, because in so though they say that, oh, we don't accept Puranas and other things, but even scriptures in Vedas explain how Supreme Lord creates everything. Right, one who creates everything, maintains everything, and sustains everything, destroys everything. Because of him only everything is created, maintained, and destroyed. So when we ask, okay, he's creating, his creation is false, he's not creating. He's creating now, all the material worlds are created by him only. And how their creation is false then? Vedas are only saying that Supreme Lord is creating everything. Then how they are false? So that's how yeah, of course, here example Prabhupada gives uh, this here the example is different. Oyster example Prabhupada gives here. It can be, it doesn't, rope and snake example also Prabhupada gives. So because you have the conception of a snake, that's why you could impose on the rope. Though the rope is there, and in the darkness you are seeing it as a snake. But snake is a truth, and rope is a truth. So though, but your because of the error, because of mistake, as mentioned here, the mistake you are seeing it as a snake. That is false. But existence is not false. The rope is existing, snake is existing. It's like material world is existing, and the spiritual world is existing. The oyster shell is existing, and the gold is also existing. Both are true. But thinking the oyster shell is gold is false. That is a temporary. That is a mistaken idea. Yeah, Prabhupada explains a lot on these aspects. Okay, we'll go ahead. But that is the main point. Okay, the previous was explained that Brahman appears as various objects in general from understanding point of view, non-dual aspect point of view. For them, it's a Brahman, everything is object, but from Vaishnava point of view, the energy of the Lord. We see it's the energy of the Lord. So everything in the material world falls in the category of these objects or the Rupa. So everything is false. So that is shown in this verse. Everything is a transformation of that Brahman, that energy of the Lord. Yata mahan aham rupas trivrit panchavidah swarat ekadashavidastasya vapur andam jagadetah.
From the total energy, the Mahat Tattva, I have manifested the false ego, the three modes of material nature, the five material elements, the individual consciousness, the 11 senses, and the material body. Similarly, the entire universe has come from the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So Supreme Personality is described as Mahatpada, which means the total material energy is known as Mahatattva is lying at his lotus feet. So this is Vaishnava understanding point of view. Let us see here the connection is a little more be clear to understand. So yeah, detachment we have seen. So those who are averse to transcendence realize the absolute truth differently through mistaken speculation, and thus everything appears to them for them is false. But so this connection, everything is false is not true. So Lord Kapila explains in this 29th next verse that everything rests upon him. So because it's resting upon him, it is not false. It is maybe temporary. So that we read now. From the Mahatattva, I manifested the false ego, the three modes, the five elements, 11 senses. And that the whole universe has come from me. So that means it is true. So in that aspect, it is explained, text 29. It is depending on me. That's what Prabhupada also mentioned here, that Mahatpada is lying at his lotus feet, his lotus feet. Yeah, read this one.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of the Mahat Tattva, and therefore, in one sense, because everything is an emanation from the Supreme Lord, there is no difference between the Lord and the cosmic manifestation. But at the same time, the cosmic manifestation is different from the Lord.
So Prabhupada gave an example also. When we see a Ford car, by seeing Ford, we can remember, by seeing cars, Ford company cars, we can remember the owner, Ford. But Ford is not car, right? The Ford owner is not just the car. He has many other things. He has his family, he has relatives, he has friends, he has companies, he has so many things he has. He has gardens, he has so many things he has. And one thing is his company and small product, maybe car. He may have many other companies also, many other products. And car is Ford, but Ford is not car. That is the main point. Here, car means the cosmic manifestation, and Ford is like a supreme lord. So, in that sense, they both are same and different. By seeing the cosmic manifestation is not different from the supreme lord, because because of his energy, is not different. No, but the personality is different. The personality is different from the universe. That's why from the creation, maintenance, and destruction point of view, we can understand how he is different. Because the creation coming from him, creation depending on him, that means he is different from the creation. He is the cause of the creation. Because it is coming from him, it is not different from him. So this is the general understanding. Because the source is a supreme lord, so the effect is also there in the source. The cosmic creation whole, everything is there in the supreme lord. So in that sense, we say that this is not different. At the same time, because it's separated from him, so he is separate also. So this is the achintya veda vedatva that we always try to understand. So that is spoken in this purport also. So this verse explains the qualification for jnana, that how to attain that kind of, how to realize that kind of non-dual understanding, but by bhakti only. Again here bhakti came. 11th verse, 22nd verse, Nishkam karma, nivritti karma, pravritti karma is concluded with bhakti only. Here also, even for jnana also one should practice bhakti. That kind of realization one should practice bhakti. एतद् वै श्रद्धया भक्त्या योगाभ्यासेन नित्यशः समाहितात्मा निस्सङ्गो विरक्त्या परिपश्यति.
This is perfect knowledge can be achieved by a person who is already engaged in devotional service with faith, steadiness, and full detachment, and who is always absorbed in thought of the Supreme. he is aloof from material association. The
So,
atheistic
please read.
The atheistic mystic practitioner of yoga cannot understand this perfect knowledge. Only persons who engage in the practical activities of devotional service in full Krishna consciousness can become
Yeah, absorbed in full samadhi. So perfect knowledge can be achieved. This jnana, non-dual knowledge, non-difference. How to come to that kind of stage? By a person who is engaged in devotional service, faith, always absorbed in Lord. Basically, devotional service. Detached from the matter, attached to Krishna. These two things only help us to come to that stage. So now Kapila summarizes the non-dual jnana. He summarizes everything in these two verses. इत्येतत् कथितं गुर्वी ज्ञानं तद्ब्रह्मदर्शनम् येनानुबुध्यते तत्त्वं प्रकृते पुरुषस्य च. Hare Krishna.
My dear respected mother, I have already described the path of understanding the absolute truth, by which one can come to understand the real truth of matter and spirit and their relationship.
Path of understanding. Prakrute means Prakriti, Purusha, the Supreme Lord, the connection. Tattvam, enanu buddhyate tattvam. So I explained the connection, the Supreme Lord and his connection with the Supreme, and but this world, how it is related. That I explained clearly. Non-dual understanding, especially from Bhakti point of view. That can be understood only by Bhakti. ज्ञानयोगस्य मन्निष्ठो नैर्गुण्यो भक्तिलक्षणः द्वयोरप्येका एवार्धो भगवत्शब्दलक्षणः.
Philosophical research culminates in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After achieving this understanding, when one becomes free from the material modes of nature, he attains the stage of devotional service. Either by devotional service directly or by philosophical research, one has to find the same destination, which is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Both by jnana, dvayor api eka evardha. Dvayor means all these two, both the jnana and bhakti. Jnana yogasya mannishto, both. So we have to come to the point of Bhagavat Shabda Lakshana. We need to come to Bhagavan stage, Bhagavan, understanding Supreme Lord. That is the only goal of both. Has to be the main goal. So that's what we read. Prabhupada also translating. Either by devotional service directly or by philosophical research. One has to come to Supreme Lord. That was also Gita we read. Prabhupada also many times quotes many lives of philosophical research. Bhunam Janmanamante Jnanaman Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. Such a serious students in philosophical research are rare because they are very great souls. So if one reaches Krishna by research, then he is a great soul Mahatma. After researching so much, Bhunam Janmanamante, if one reaches, then he is a great soul. But if one is unable to reach, then he has to continue research. You have to keep on researching whole world. A different process. Please read this one. Hello.
One can achieve the result of wise philosophical speculation simply by discharging devotional service. And unless one reaches the point of understanding the personality of Godhead by his mental speculation, all his research work is said to be simply a labor of love.
Labor of love, Prabhupada mentions, because he wants to achieve finally that love. It's he has to endeavor more and more. So the Lord is not only realized by jnana and bhakti. So because he has infinite powers, the Lord is realized by all sadhanas. So that is explained in this verse that Lord is not only achieved by this jnana and bhakti, but all sadhanas. And whatever different sadhanas when we practice, finally they are coming to understand the Lord. So with an example that is explained here. So many sadhanas people are trying to perform, but they are trying to experience only that kind of realization according to their sadhana. So, but how bhakti is the final thing? That example is given to show that kind of ultimate process and ultimate realization. यथेन्द्रियै पृथग्द्वारैर् अर्धो बहुगुणाश्रयः एको नान्येयते तद्वत् भगवान् शास्त्रवर्त्मभिः.
Single object is appreciated differently by different senses due to its having different qualities. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is one, but according to different scriptural injunctions, he appears to be different.
So here Prabhupada there is a subjection, not so to get a please read.
It appears that by following the path of Jnana Yoga or empiric philosophical speculation, one reaches the impersonal Brahman, whereas by executing devotional service in Krishna consciousness, one enriches his faith in and devotion to the personality of Godhead. But it is stated here that both Bhakti Yoga and Jnana Yoga are meant for reaching the same destination, the personality of Godhead. By the process of Jnana Yoga, the same personality of Godhead appears to be impersonal.
Same personality appears for him as a Jnana Yoga. For Jnana Yogi, he appears to be impersonal. Of course, that examples we have discussed previously also. Hill example from a distance. Another example is given. Please read this one.
Another example is in perceiving milk. When we see milk, we see that it is white. When we taste it, it appears that milk is very palatable. When we touch milk, it appears very cold. When we smell milk, it appears to have a very good fragrance. And when we hear, we understand that it is called milk. Perceiving milk with different senses, we say that it is something white, something very delicious, something very aromatic, and so on. Actually, it is milk.
Similarly.
Similarly, those who are trying to find the Supreme Godhead by mental speculation may approach the bodily effulgence or the impersonal Brahman, and those who are trying to find the Supreme Godhead by yoga practice may find him as the localized super soul. But those who are directly trying to approach the Supreme Truth by practice of Bhakti Yoga can see him face to face as the Supreme Person.
So different senses have different understanding about milk. But once you take it as a taste, the tasting is the final experience of the milk. The eyes may see as a white, and touch may sense it as a cold, fragrance it may have, understanding from ears it have an understanding of its milk. So, but the final something is when we take it, when we taste it, then it's a real understanding of the milk. That is the main understanding of what milk is finally, right? So similarly, this Bhakti Yoga is the final thing to understand the supreme aspect of absolute truth. So that is explained as a Bhakti Yoga. All other process can give some understanding. Just like milk is understood by different senses, but the tongue is the one, is the main thing that which can give you experience of the milk, final experience of the milk. Similarly, here Bhakti Yoga gives the final experience of the milk. Sorry, final experience of the Supreme Lord. Yeah, which is compared to milk. It's the final experience. Now, Prabhupada clarifies here, though he generally mentions all things are mentioned here. When we taste, also is mentioned, appears milk is very palatable. As a tongue is explained here, with eyes, with ears, and with touch, etc., with the nose, fragrance, etc. But here he finally concludes. And just as one can appreciate the real taste of milk with tongue and not with eyes, nostrils, or ears, one can similarly appreciate the absolute truth perfectly and with all relishable pleasure only through one path, devotional service. So with all other processes, it's very difficult to comprehend him. So that's why Bhaktyamam Abhijanati. One can understand only by bhakti. So even by bhakti, can I understand fully? If we cannot understand, Prabhupada also mentions In fact, of course, no one can understand absolute truth in all perfection. Even with bhakti also we cannot completely comprehend. What to speak of bhakti, even Lord himself, he cannot understand himself. That is the prerogative. He himself can't understand about himself. That's why he comes as Lord Chaitanya to understand about his internal, what his devotees are experiencing about me. What is in it me? Devotees are hankering after me. So that he wants to understand and relish. So, but how to understand? Yeah, understanding by bhakti only it's possible, but only to the degree Krishna reveals. That is only possible by bhakti only, not other processes. Comparing personal and impersonal features, Prabhupada explains. And how to experience at least whatever that final feature, highest feature. The process is to fix the mind on Rishikesha. The process is to serve the Lord. One should try to understand, experience the highest feature, the supreme feature of absolute truth is Krishna. That can be possible by bhakti, and the bhakti has to be practiced just like Amrish Maharaj, engaging all the senses, which is the mind is the center of all activities. And by engaging all senses, including the mind, one should practice bhakti. Please read summary, conclusion.
Summary and conclusion. Bhakti is the basic principle of all processes. Without bhakti, neither Jnana Yoga or nor Ashtanga Yoga can be successful. And unless one approaches Krishna, the principles of self-realization have no ultimate destination.
Destinations, only they will become. In fact, bhakti only when it is added. Bhakti is beyond gunas. All other processes are jnana, yoga also in mode of goodness only. So that is the main fundamental principle that we need to understand about bhakti and other processes. Bhakti is only transcendental. All other processes are touched with modes, especially mode of goodness. Sattva sanjayate jnana. Jnana yoga basically it illuminates only in a goodness. So only by bhakti, adding bhakti, they become transcendental. In a sense, they can give the result. When we add bhakti to jnana, then only it can give transcendental result of merging in impersonal Brahman. Otherwise, jnana itself, it cannot take to beyond the beyond the Brahma, not Brahma's planet, highest mode of goodness planet. So in this world. So that's the main basic fundamental principle we need to understand that, of course, we keep on hearing, but the same point is emphasized. Bhakti is to be practiced, and bhakti can give only the final conclusion of the absolute truth face to face. We can experience as well. Okay, this verse is saying about a kind of different, whatever processes we may perform, Shastra, Vartmabihi, it has to come to the final point of Bhagavan. Whatever we may practice, according to different scriptural injunctions, we may practice, but one has to come to that point of realizing the Supreme Lord. So, what are the different practices? What are the different scriptural injunctions? They are described here. One may perform all these things, but one should come to the final point of practicing bhakti or practicing bhakti to Supreme Lord, to realize the Supreme Lord. Okay, because of lack of time, we will just read translations now. At least till this chapter I want to complete. Please continue.
By performing fruitful activities and sacrifices, by distributing charity, by performing austerities, by studying various literatures, by conducting philosophical research, by controlling the mind, by subduing the senses, by accepting the renounced order of life, and by performing the prescribed duties of one's social order, by performing the different divisions of yoga practice, by performing devotional service, and by exhibiting the process of devotional service containing the symptoms of both attachment and detachment, by understanding the science of self-realization, and by developing a strong sense of detachment, one who is expert in understanding the different processes of self-realization realizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead as He is, represented in the material world as well as in transcendence.
So one who is expert in understanding all these different processes of self-realization realizes the Supreme Lord, both in this world and beyond also. So as it is stated in the previous verse, one has to follow principles of scriptures that Vartma Sadhu Vartma Shastra Vartma sorry, Shastra Vartma injunctions of principles of they are different prescribed duties for persons in different social and spiritual orders. Prabhupada clarifies all these, whatever is mentioned, they are in different different activities are meant for different sections of people. Brahmachari, Grihastha, Patra, Sannyas. So they have to practice all those things. But just by performing, only by performing Varnashrama is not sufficient. So all these different activities are prescribed for different persons so that they may be elevated to the platform of self-realization and from there to Krishna consciousness devotion service. So that by practicing Varnashram Dharma or prescribed duties, one will come to mode of goodness. So one will be purified. Purification means mode of goodness. So one will develop knowledge. So, but that is not just sufficient, but we need to practice Bhakti Yoga also. So Bhakti Yogena Chaivahi. But Bhakti Yoga has to practice. The word Shaivahi according to Sanskrit grammar indicate that one must perform all these activities mixed with devotional service. Otherwise such activities will not produce any fruit. So Bhakti Yoga has to be included. It has to be practiced along with the Varnashram Dharma. Then only one will achieve. One will come to at least one will come to the final point of realizing Krishna. And one has to come to the point of Krishna. Otherwise, if we just performing prescribed duties, Varnashram Dharma, oh, I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, I am a Vaishya, I am just performing my duty. Then what will be the result? The result will be just going around in the same merry-go-round. That's what we said. That's what Kapil Muni is saying in this chapter. Even Varnashram Dharma, keep on practicing. We keep on going up and down. So, but one has to come to the final point of Krishna. So, Prabhupada explains more and more details how we can understand symptoms that I am coming close to Krishna. There are main two symptoms of advancement mentioned here. Of course, Prabhupada gives this example of eating process, just as there are two processes taking place while eating. A hungry man feels strength and satisfaction from eating, and at the same time, he gradually becomes detached from eating anymore. This is a famous verse from 10th canto. What is that? Tushti Pushti Kshtapayo Vasa. That is famous verse in there. Where he says that Bhakti Pareshanvo Viraktiranyasyat. Yeah, Bhakti Pareshanvo Viraktiranyasyat. Just like actually there are three things are there. Prabhupada make it two here. Tushti is satisfaction. Pushti is strength. And Virakti is detachment from material things. Tushti Pushti Kshudapaya. Just like hungry person. As he's taking each morsel when we are really hungry. Generally I'm not hungry, but because of bodily timings, etc., I keep on taking particular times. But when we are really hungry, sometimes, especially on Ekadashis or some fasting days, we are really hungry. The moment we start taking, we feel a lot of satisfaction. The moment after Nirjala Ekadashi or Ekadashi fasting days, the moment we start taking juice or water, we feel satisfied. First is satisfaction, tushti, satisfaction. And then we feel little strength in the body. Becoming little, okay, I can function now, I can think and I can do some things. Pushti, then Shudapaya, detached from the hunger, we feel satisfied, there is no more hunger now. So that should be the main result from Bhakti. Bhakti Pareshanmo Virakti. Virakti from all kinds of material things should happen. That is also one of the main symptoms. So Virakti from all material activities. Similarly, execution oriented, the real knowledge develops. One becomes detached from all material activities. So detachment, and then bhakti pareshanubhava. So bhakti is compared to strength. So that is compared to pushti. Bhakti is compared to tushti. By J. Goswami, in comparison, I am saying. So bhakti is compared to satisfaction. Bhakti activities like chanting, dancing, sometimes they are definitely very boring, very austere. But in general, all the activities of bhakti are very pleasurable activities. Yeah, they are compared to uh, tushti, satisfaction, pleasurable activities. Then gradually, bhakti pareshanubhava. The pareshanubhava is compared to pushti. Hope you are not. Hope I am not confusing all of you. So there are three things are there. Bhakti pareshanubhava virakti. Bhakti pareshanubhava virakti. So these three things will manifest, has to manifest while practicing devotional service. Just like a hungry person is given food, for him it will have, what will happen? Tushti, pushti, shodapaya. So these three things happens. So tushti, the satisfaction or the pleasure, is compared to bhakti. Bhakti are bhakti elements. For practicing, we are happy, we are contented, we are blissful. And this pushti is compared to the pareshanubhava, paraishanubhava. We are experiencing the hand of Lord in our life. So that should give us strength to our devotional service. That is actually strength, paraishanubhava, experiencing the hand of the Lord in our life. And virakti from all the material things. So this is from 11th canto. You can search somewhere Bhakti Pareshanubhava Virakti Raghunatha. So in this way, we need to experience the results of bhakti as we are going ahead in spiritual life. That means we are really practicing bhakti. Of course, we are practicing bhakti, but we need to also see in terms of as like taking medicine. Taking medicine means there should be some change in the disease. That means we are really taking the medicine. Okay. So these are all explained very vividly and long, but please go through. Having summarized Jnana Yoga and showing its dependence on Bhakti to Bhagavan, who is attained by only by Bhakti. A suitable example Kapila showed Bhagavan. A suitable example is showed. Kapila Muni gave example, which showed Bhagavan to be the goal of all paths. Example of just like a milk example. Acharyas explained milk example. That how different senses experience the same object, but it is a one object can be experienced by mind, especially. There an example is the mind, the verse. Senses experience it differently, but mind experiences in full. But in example wise, milk example is given, how different senses are experiencing different aspects of the milk, but the tongue is experiencing the final taste. So that's how the example is given. Now Kapila summarizes Bhakti Yoga and other processes in 2 verses. So he's explaining how Bhakti is the final thing. Okay, please read translation.
My dear mother, I have explained to you the process of devotional service and its identity in 4 different divisions. I have explained to you as well how eternal time is chasing the living entities, although it is imperceptible to them.
So, Kapil Mani, you can read this last one.
Devotional service mixed with the modes of material nature is a means for material existence, whereas devotional service without desires for future results and without attempts for empirical philosophical research is pure, transcendental devotional service.
So Chaturvidam Swarupam Pravocham Bhakti Yogasya. I told Bhakti Yoga Chaturvidam. What is 4 kinds of Bhakti Yoga? What are the 4 kinds of Bhakti Yoga? Can someone tell? Last whole teachings of Kapila Muni, he was saying that 4 kinds of Bhakti Yoga explained. Anyone remembers or any reflection? What are the 4 divisions of Bhakti? Bhakti has 4 divisions, he's saying. Different 4 types of Bhaktis. Chaturvidam. You know it, but you may not be knowing by this. Chaturvidam. Any understanding? I can give a clue. It connected to the modes. No, also Bhakti.
The jnana,
No, I mentioned about modes.
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji,
Pariksha
Pardon?
Chaturvarnamaya system.
No. I am talking about here. Kapil Muni
Hare
is
Krishna,
saying that.
Prabhuji.
Devotional.
Yeah, please tell us.
प्रभुजी ज्ञान मिश्रित भक्ति और वही वाला है प्रभुजी कर्म मिश्रित भक्ति
No, not that one. I mentioned about modes. Yes, others.
Devotional
Yeah.
service in mode of goodness or passion is it?
Yeah. Then what is the 4th one?
Devotion in pure goodness.
Yeah, in pure goodness. Yeah, these are the 4 things. So 3 modes are 3 kinds of bhaktis, modes of nature, and one is in transcendence. Prabhupada mentions here. Bhakti, as described before, divided into 4 divisions, 3 different modes of nature, and one in transcendence, which is untinged by modes. So these kinds of 4 levels of bhakti, Kapila advised or prescribed to all of us through Mother Devakti. Prabhupada, very amazing, puts it into everything is in one line. Please read this one.
the process of Bhakti Yoga, devotional service, is the main river flowing down towards the sea of the absolute truth, and all other processes mentioned are just like tributaries. Lord Kapila is summarizing the importance of the process of devotional service.
Yeah. So the Bhakti Yoga is like a river flowing towards the absolute truth, but all other process like austerities, this, that, control, sense, and all the attributes coming has to come to the Bhakti only finally. And they have to go to it can only take to the ocean. So here one of the main point you can note, devotional service only, but mixed with modes is a means for material existence. One may be a very striking statement from Prabhupada that it's a means for material existence. It's not for transcendence. Though it's bhakti, but as long as it is mixed with the modes, it is a means for material existence. But only when pure devotional service, that's we always aspire for, should aspire for. So in Sikshastakam, can you mention one verse which says karma, jnana, yoga, bhakti, everything is included in one verse? Which verse says about karma, jnana, bhakti? Every day we recite, of course. Some of you might be reciting every day. But by hearing every day. Any verse says that karma, jnana, bhakti. Sikshastakam.
ना धनम ना जन्म ना सुंदरी
Yeah, you guessed it right. Can you explain a little bit?
So
How it,
actually, when it says that na dhanam na janam na sundari means it means that we are not hankering for any material opulence or anything. Mama janmani janmani bhutat bhakti. The only aim is a pure devotional service to the Lord. Birth after birth. I don't even want liberation also.
how can you connect it to processes?
Mm.
What is the goal of process of karma? What is the goal of karma? Nishkam karma, sakam karma, especially.
Hmm.
What is the goal of sakam karma?
Sakam karma means to aspiring something material.
Aspiring material is okay, but what is the main goal? What is the main destination, at least, sakam karma yogis? We
Sakam
need to, yeah, we discussed many times also. So these things has to be very clear for you. Of course, you remember, may not be now.
Following
The go-
scriptural rules to get benefits, personal
Ah,
benefits.
where?
Sakam karma.
Where? Where he wants to get?
Even
To back to Godhead.
Heavenly planet. Heavenly planet.
Yeah, heavenly planets.
Heavenly planet. Heavenly.
Yeah, sometimes here and especially heavenly planets. So that's what sakam karma. Enjoyment is the main goal of sakam karma, either in this world or in swarga. Mainly swarga. So that is negated by Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim is these are representations of the Swarga, this world's enjoyments, prominent enjoyments. So that is negated. Karma, I don't want practice karma. I don't want the destinations of karma. And neither jnana, which is the main goal, is to liberate it and going back home, going merging in Brahman. That means no repeated births and deaths. That is negated by mama janmani janmanishware. But I want only bhakti, neither karma, neither jnana, etc. All these things. Yeah, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. Even that can be translated into nadanam najanam sundarim kavitam. Sometimes they interpret sundarim kavitam or sundarim kavitam, different terms, different words. Sundarim, for a male it's a woman, or for a woman it's male. Whatever, it's beautiful objects. Sundarim, Kavitam. Kavita means poetry, wonderful poetry. But when we combine Sundarim Kavitam, the perfection of poetry, that kind of yoga, perfections, yogic perfections, that can be. No perfections. Perfection is the main goal of yoga. All Shaktis, Anima, Lagima, all the perfections. So that kind of perfection one should not aspiring for. अहं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीशकामये अजन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे पताद्भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि अहैतुकी bhakti. Bhakti also not at all tinged by the material modes. Ahituki bhakti and apratihata. Apratihata is also reflected in Janmani Janmanishware. So apratihata and ahituki are very much this verse, Sikshastakam itself, as many acharyas explain how it's so condensed. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, entire everything is embedded in these 8 verses. So especially the third verse is the fourth verse is the kind of giving more of what a devotee is aspiring for. Ahaytuki bhakti, apratihata, ahaytuki apratihata. So only pure devotional service. No, nothing else. No, nothing else than devotional service mixed with modes, etc. So that kind of practice we need to be convinced about, and we need to practice it, and we need to release it. Then we can get perfection of it. So Kapil Muni is summarizing in this importance of devotional service in these two verses. So this verse especially talks about bhakti, and next verse talks in a opposite manner, in a negative manner. If we don't practice, then what will happen? जीवस्य संस्कृतिर्भावै भावीर् अविद्या कर्म निर्मिताः या स्वांग प्रविशन् आत्मा न वेदा गतिमात्मनः.
There are varieties of material existence for the living entity according to the work he performs in ignorance or forgetfulness of his real identity. My dear mother, if anyone enters into that forgetfulness, he is unable to understand where his movements will end.
So if he doesn't understand his identity, his bhakti, then he has to come back again and again. So now everything is over. Now he gave all the teachings to his mother. Now Kapila shows those who are not qualified for these teachings. From 39 to 43 is sections where we will just conclude with who are qualified, who are not qualified for practicing this, and also to share both. Please read translation.
Lord Kapila continued, this instruction is not meant for the envious, for the agnostics, or for persons who are unclean in their behavior, nor is it for hypocrites or for persons who are proud of material positions.
So definitely this is not meant for them. This means that when they have these qualities, they may not be able to understand. Of course, Prabhupada gives purport combining these two verses. Okay, we'll see that one. Text 40.
It is not to be instructed to persons who are too greedy and too attached to family life, not to persons who are non-devotees and who are envious of the devotees and of the personality of Godhead.
So this purport is very wonderful. Please go through later. The who can't understand Krishna consciousness is very much explained. But if you see all these qualities, Prabhupada went to Western countries. If you all these qualities we see, everything befits those people, right? But how Prabhupada gave these teachings to them? Why he gave to them? How they could pick up, how they could understand, how they could realize. Here it is Kapila Muni saying they should not give to those people who are greedy, too attached to family life, or non-devotees. Why he gave them?
By seeing their vairagya.
Vairagya? What Vairagya they had? They are attached to all kinds of
They are they are hippies, no? So so they left their homes and
okay, you are saying in that way Vairagya. Okay.
okay.
Vairagya they had, but in perverted form. They gave up, but they have attachment to many other enjoyments which are very sinful in nature. Yeah. Pardon? Yes.
Their faith on Prabhupada.
Yeah, good point. This is one point that yeah, they had though they have all kinds of these kinds of disqualifications, many disqualifications, but they had slight faith in Prabhupada, slight faith, and which is later on became very strong faith in Prabhupada's teachings. Good point. Yes, Mataji, raised hand. Somebody raised hand.
Prabhuji, their dedication towards Prabhupada, and whenever Prabhupada gave instructions, they followed it by heart.
Yeah, once he has seen that kind of dedication and the faith only transformed into taking up more responsibilities, etc. Yeah. Yeah, the main point is that
Prabhupada
Bhakta,
were clean slates. They did not have any background, like they were clean slates. So he could, whatever he said, that was the truth for them.
Yeah, clean slate in the sense that they don't have any kind of wrong conceptions that what Indians had about God, about impersonalism or personality and all. In that sense, they don't have any wrong ideas. They had definitely some of them, at least they had some I am God and I am the supreme and all these conceptions. They have also some of them, but the sincerity or their faith in Prabhupada that made them qualified. But Prabhupada didn't see all this, especially here. Mad Bhakta Dvisham is very crucial. All other qualities, they may be there, they may not be there, whether they can be given knowledge or not. But especially Mad Bhakta Dvisham, especially if they don't have any kind of hatefulness, envious nature towards devotees, then only they will be able to absorb. Even if you give them, they will not be able to absorb as long as they maintain that kind of a Madbhakta Dvisham, Dveshti, so that Bhakti Samskaras are very strong. I mean, the negative Bhakti Samskaras, Dveshi Samskaras, very strong, then it's very difficult for them to understand. So for them, it's not at all be given to them. Others, yeah, definitely can be given as long as they are more sincere and they will definitely practice as long as they can absorb. That's why Prabhupada presented this purport in terms of who can't understand Krishna consciousness. And when though we are taking up Krishna consciousness, but we cannot understand fully as long as we maintain all these qualities. So persons who are always planning to harm other living entities, they are who become submissive to spiritual master most artificially with an ulterior motive. Oh, I'll gain money, I'll gain name, fame. So, due to being initiated by another sect of religious faith, though they are in a different organization or having a different faith, but they try to find something here, but they also can't understand Krishna consciousness. So, Prabhupada explains many practical aspects. Some students come to join us, being biased in their motives, but they leave after some time. So that's one point. Materialistic persons are after some name, fame, material gain. So if someone takes to Krishna consciousness for these reasons, he will never able to understand this philosophy. As long as basically, as long as we are maintaining them. So the 10th offense is to maintain mental attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. So one may have mental attachments, just like a tree. Just existence of the tree will definitely attract birds. That's a natural symptom, right? So tree is there means birds will come and sit. But we should not allow the birds to stay on the tree. Don't allow the birds to make the nest on the tree. Means that just because just having a body itself means that we may have desires for name, fame, material gain, enjoyment, etc. That is a natural byproduct of a body. Just like a tree means birds will come. So sinful birds will come and sit on our body in the sense of subtle body. But we should not allow them to make nests in our subtle body. So just like we should not allow the birds to sit on the tree and make nests, otherwise they will make mess of our campus. So similarly, sinful desires may come, but they should not stay. They should not take roots in our hearts. They should be immediately pushed off by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So the desires may be there, but they should not they should not make nests in our hearts. For that persons, we cannot understand Krishna consciousness. We cannot gain ultimate benefit. So even if one is not greedy for material possessions, but is too attached to family life, he cannot understand Krishna consciousness. So externally, one may not seem very passionate and very working, etc. Too much externally, but internally is very too attached to family, etc. It's also very difficult. Proper mentioning. Person is not contaminated by the above faults. Yet, at the ultimate issue, is not interested in the service of the Supreme Lord, or if he is a non-devotee, then also he cannot understand. Yeah, very subtle points are mentioned here. We need to take a note, and very subtle nuances are mentioned by Prabhupada. So, in order to make advancement, these need to be understood and practiced more for our practical life. These are all more practical life things need to be exercised. Though they may not be contaminated by above faults, if we are not interested in service of the Lord, we may not be attached to, we may not be working hard too much for material positions, bungalow, car, name, fame, post, position, or anything, business, etc. And we are not also too much attached to all the family things internally. But if you don't have interest in service of the Lord, the positive aspect, eagerness, enthusiasm to serve the Lord, please His devotees, then also it's difficult to grasp the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So that's a beautiful, yeah. So the text for 39-40 explain who can't understand Krishna consciousness. But text 41-42 explain who can understand. So by speaking these two verses, he is emphasizing what one should have. It's not that we should not have these qualities, 39 and 40. That's okay, definitely. One may not have those qualities. Is it the qualification to understand? No, one should have these qualities. So to emphasize that one, so this is explained 41 and 42. One should have positive things also. Okay, read.
Instruction should be given to the faithful devotee who is respectful to the spiritual master, non-envious, friendly to all kinds of living entities, and eager to render service with faith and sincerity.
Qualities.
This instruction should be imparted by the spiritual master to persons who have taken the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be more dear than anything, who are not envious of anyone, who are perfectly cleansed, and who have developed detachment for that which is outside the purview of Krishna consciousness.
Prabhupada explains this quality is little more detailed, and you can go through. Especially bhakta means who does not hesitate to accept the reformatory process for becoming a bhakta. So bhakta, the word devotee itself is defined in a wonderful way, who doesn't hesitate to accept the reformatory process. So these are all for ourselves to take up the process of bhakti. So then we can be called as a bhakta, devotee. So initially we may not be able to higher stage of devotional service immediately, but we are not averse. That means we are taking up this process of bhakti, and especially the 5 aspects of devotional service out of 64, 5 important elements I mentioned. And then they need to be extended. One who has accepted these 5 chief activities is called a devotee. And many qualities are explained how one should become a Prabhupada explains all these qualities. Vinitaya. Vinita means respectful to spiritual master. Anusuyave, non-envious of other devotees. Very amazing qualities are explained by Prabhupada in detail. Acharyas explained plainly also. So one should prepare to offer necessary respect and honor to spiritual master. Yeah, the austerities of body, mind, and words are spoken by Krishna in 17th chapter of Gita that need to be practiced. Deva Dvija Guru Pragna Pujanam Acharya Upasanam. So all this brahmacharya, ahimsa, cha, one shariram tapo uchyate. So all these austerities we need to practice. And this is a beautiful point. You read this one?
One should not be unnecessarily envious of his god brothers. Rather, if a god brother is more enlightened and advanced in Krishna consciousness, one should accept him as almost equal to the spiritual master, and one should be happy to see such god brothers advance in Krishna consciousness.
Asuya, Prabhupada's Acharyas explained very beautiful way. Anasuya means we should not be envious when other devotees are excelling me. If my friend who joined with me or who came into Krishna consciousness along with me, he's advanced so much that he has so many responsibilities, he's taking up so much and he has advanced so much after 10, 12 years. Or sometimes it may happen that two friends came to Jivan service, one became brahmachari, one became grihastha. And sometimes it happens that one is ahead in taking responsibilities, etc. One should not be envious of either in any cases. So rather one should be happy to see that others are advancing by seeing the mercy of the Lord manifesting in them. So only by mercy of the Lord one can advance. If we are becoming envious, means we are envious of the mercy. Envious of the mercy means envious of Krishna. So in the indirect way, we are envious of Krishna himself. That's the main root cause. So we are happy. If we are really happy by seeing others advancing, then Krishna is more pleased. It's a very fundamental principle to bhakti. That's Prabhupada's Acharya's comment on this, especially on the Suya. And the Prabhupada is explaining more on this aspect. Okay, many qualities Prabhupada explains. So please read this one.
In these two verses, the qualities of a devotee are fully explained. One who has actually developed all the qualities listed in these verses is already elevated to the post of a devotee. If one has not developed all these qualities, he still has to fulfill these conditions in order to become a perfect devotee.
He still has to fulfill these conditions, means he has to practice them. We may not be on that level, and we are not, at least I am not on that level where I will not become envious of seeing. Envious means we are at least having some kind of feeling. So at least we are not dragging others down. That should be the at least the uppermost limit. I should not drag them down by various activities. So jealous and envious has a slight difference. Jealous means I also want to be like them. Why he only? I also can be distributing thousands of books. I can also give great lectures. I can also play mridangas. I also want to. That's the kind of little jealous. But envious means I drag him down. I drag her down by specific activities. That's a very destructive to our spiritual life. Yeah, we should be careful, but we need to practice all these things. We may not have, but we need to practice. So now the Falashruti is mentioned in the last verse. So let us see this one and then we'll come to comment. Yaidam Shruniyadamba Shraddhaya Purusha Sakrit Yo Vabhidatte Machitta Sahyeti Padavim Chame.
Anyone who once meditates upon me with faith and affection, who hears and chants about me, surely goes back to Godhead.
Sahyeti Padavim Chame. They will attain not only who meditates, anyone who once meditates on me, Machittaha, yo Abhidatte, Machittaha, meditates on me with faith and affection. And who is hearing, constantly chants all these activities, all these teachings especially, surely goes back to Godhead. So Acharya gives a beautiful understanding that what to speak of the good fortune for the performers of these actions. Performing means we are trying to act on these teachings. Hear about the good fortune that arises just from hearing and chanting about this topic. So Kapil Muni is saying, my dear mother, what to speak of those who are performing these actions? Hear from me that what happens to those who are just from hearing and chanting all these activities about this topic. So what will happen just by hearing and chanting? Who hears and chanting about these teachings? What will happen? They will go back home back to Godhead. What to speak of acting on them just by hearing and chanting? Hearing and chanting in the sense that we are keep on reading and hearing about this topic itself is a great amazing effect of making our minds completely absorbed in Krishna and finally achieve his abode. And what to speak of who are practicing, endeavoring to practice and perfecting in practice. So that's the point that I mentioned here, that the potency of these teachings are mentioned here. So what to speak of good fortune for performance of the actions? So just the good fortune arises from hearing and chanting itself is that they will achieve complete absorption, and also absorption means complete going back to Godhead. So that itself is the final destination for devotees. So we pause here. So that's how Kapila Muni completes his teachings, the glories of his teachings, and who can understand, who can't understand, and especially repeatedly emphasizing the path of bhakti in contrast with all other processes. Whatever processes we may take up, but it is all included in the process of bhakti and also the destination of Bhagavan. So we need not search for anywhere else. We are all being given all this wonderful process of bhakti so easily without any our endeavor. Devotees came searching all of us, and they are offering the path of bhakti, especially Prabhupada's. By Prabhupada's great mercy, we got this process knowingly or unknowingly, but at least by reading like this, hearing like this, we become convinced about our process and not divert our attention to any other things. So nuances has to be understood, subtleties has to be understood. What is karma, what is jnana, what is yoga, what is bhakti. They have their own activities, external activities, and they have their own internal aspirations. So karma has internal aspiration of enjoyment, jnana has internal aspiration of detachment from the suffering and absorb in just his own enjoyment in Brahman. Yoga has his own internal attachment to perfection of doing something great. So, and if these tinges are touching our bhakti, then we need to be a little careful. So, our bhakti has to be free from all these internal aspects of karma, jnana, and yoga. And then we can perform pure bhakti, and then we can relish the bhakti process. And by all of your blessings and prayers, I can also try to understand a little bit what I am speaking. Speaking is easy, it is easier said than done. So we seek blessings of all the Vaishnavas to practice, to understand, and to practice pure devotional service. Thank you very much. So tomorrow tomorrow we may not be complete all the chapters. I think for around 37 verses are there. Let us see how much we can complete. We may need one more session, maybe next Saturday. But I thought this chapter has a very crucial aspects. Of course, I didn't go much in depth also. Please go through the sections. Very beautiful purports, very beautiful understandings. But I try to give some whatever I understood from my reading and my hearing. Karandra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you. Thank you so
Hare
much,
Krishna.
Prabhuji, for teaching such a nice classes. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
So if you have any question, you can take next week, tomorrow. You can ask in between also whenever you have some question tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Pranam. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.